very pleased and it's an honor for me to be here with Jolie. Hello, Jolie.
Hey, Cecile, thank you again for coming over.
Yes, we are in MIT and we are in an AI laboratory, and it's very interesting to listen what Jolie can share with us. So I let you introduce yourself.
Thank you. So I just started as an assistant professor here in the Laboratory for Information and Decision Systems. I work on complex system design, which is a very broad term. I typically work on systems made of many different components that are intelligent, for instance, a robot or a mobility system, and I try to design algorithms that come up with better designs that are better for society, for certain missions, and I do that with a mix of students and colleagues that work on optimization, that come more from robotics or mechanical engineering, but also from information theory and more applied mathematics. So it's an interdisciplinary team here at MIT.
It's very interesting because, as you know, AI has many verticals, and the jobs of Jolie here is to propose complex theory, complex system, to put things possible. And is there example, for example, for the definition of this complexity, what can you say, and do you have an example? What is complexity theory in AI?
So here, for instance, an example is we work with the city of Chicago right now to design a intermodal system or a public transit system made of different options. You know, you have the medical district in Chicago, which is a very busy district with many doctors moving from one hospital to another, or assistants, nurses having to work on weird times. And what we want to do is create an autonomous shuttle service that complements the existing public transit system. And you know, you could think that that's only an MIT problem. You know, you design a new technology that's very cool and you put it into work, but actually that's not the case. You know, you want to design it in an equitable way, a fair way. So you have to create a fairness commission. You have to interact with people that might lose their job if you deploy such a system. You have to interact with the public transit authority. So there are many people sitting at the table, and it's not only about the math. It's about finding a framework that allows them to speak up and share their voice, and that's what excites me, to work on these systems that have multiple stakeholders. So the complexity is not necessarily in developing a new algorithm, but is rather making everybody happy in these complex systems in a way.
Very interesting. So this complex system, it's many components, many players, and many ideas. And the ideas that you develop is how technology can be fair, inclusive, and accessible to everybody, even with people that have no smartphone but only SMS, how they can have a service.
Exactly. Yeah, right now one of the big challenges is that if you want to make a service that is equitable, you cannot only rely on fancy apps that everybody might have. You know, in Chicago there's some people that don't have internet connection, for instance, and so you have to rely on. Now we are developing a chatbot for people to send SMS and say, hey, I'm here, I would like a service to pick me up, and then the chatbot interacts with you to tell you where to go or how long to wait for the new service.
Yeah, very interesting. So you remember in Mumbai we speak about the Jugaad innovation, that is the frugal innovation with AI. Here in MIT, in Boston, in Cambridge, in the States, it's the same things with another approach with this complex system. Another question is about the impact and the subject of climate. Everywhere here, people think about the impact of climate and the challenge of AI. How can we address that?
Mm-hmm. It's a very good question. First of all, so there are two sides of the question. One is AI itself is good but creates impacts on the climate. So we should develop algorithms that are aware of this impact. But the most important thing here at MIT is that we now have a climate activity that touches every department. Actually was kicked off yesterday, so that's a very good coincidence that you're here. And this tries to bring some climate research in every department at MIT. You know, this was already the case, but now it's kind of a centralized effort. And here the problem is really that you have an interconnected system. I'll give you an example. I work a bit on maritime shipping. So this is a big sector that you want to decarbonize because almost 90% of our movement of goods in the world depends on this system. But here you have many different things that could be decarbonized. You have a design of the ship to make them more sustainable, but that alone doesn't give you improvements, right? You have to improve how you regulate the ships in the world, how you create incentives for different companies to behave in a sustainable way. So it goes everywhere from the very low-level mechanical engineering design of a ship to operations research, how you regulate the ships, how you create incentives at the level of countries and policy. And to make sure that this happens at all these different levels, you have to put together people from different disciplines. And that's what MIT is trying to do, and hopefully many other places will try to follow in the next years.
Thank you for all this insight. And perhaps the last question is about your point of view of the future of AI here in MIT, how all this research from all the fields, all the countries, all this brain can imagine a fair, inclusive and social future with AI. Is it possible?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I love MIT's efforts in AI. I don't see AI as a new thing, as we were discussing before. Especially here at MIT, people have been working on these things for the past 80, 90 years. It's just that different people talk about AI in different ways, and AI has had summer and winters. But recently, it's of course a summer, right? We have a lot of interest. I think we have a lot of opportunities now because in recent years we gained access to much more data for many critical systems. Think about cities. Now you have data about transportation, you have data about accessibility, you have data about usage of different technologies. And this data is a very powerful and rich ingredient for these AI models. However, we also don't need to just believe in AI and just see this as an hot topic and just follow that, forgetting the past, the previous efforts in more structured and fundamental research. So it's the way I see MIT's approach is really to try to bring in AI while still keeping the fundamentals there, and that's an important approach because it empowers new students to learn about AI without though forgetting about the classic methods that were behind. So it's kind of a best of both worlds approach.
Thank you so much for all this interview.
Thank
you for your time. And as usual, I try to sum up the interview with 3 main ideas, so it's not easy. So first idea I can have is, we know that AI, there are so many technical and so many fields in AI. It's not one field, it's a lot of one. And what is very interesting with Gen AI is the modularity between all these fields. And what is very interesting with Jolie is approach with complex system to make this modularity possible, because there are many those different science and field. There are many players, there are many components, there are many problems, and there are many targets such as FAIR, such as optimization, economics, and so on. And this scientist complexity and this theory is very interesting to feel and to have a good focus on this problem. Second idea, perhaps, it's the approach here about the climate. The climate is not only an idea, it's something that must be integrated in all the research, and this is very interesting and very interesting because it's such as in our country, in Europe. So climate is not only with Europe, it's be everywhere in the world, so I think it's very important to know. And perhaps the last idea is about the future of AI. And the future of AI, we don't know, but what is sure is that is something that needs to be think with fair, with inclusivity, and for all the people, because as AI is everywhere, everybody can use AI, but if you don't have a smartphone in the state, it's difficult. You can have the credit, it's not easy, but you can have SMS, you can have born with chatbot, and you can push, and everything here is for everybody, because everybody now need to use AI, and we need to think to everybody. So thank you so much.
That's a great summary. Thank you again.
Bye-bye.